Hello, this is Dennis with A1 Telephone Service and Repair, A1 Electronics. You can reach us on the web at www.a1-telephone.com, and you can also reach us at 618-235-6959. Today I want to show you a really cool Western Electric 3-slot payphone, and this is Bobby's telephone from Idaho. And we've done an earlier 3-slot payphone for Bobby, and that was going to go into his bar. And so basically Bobby has wrote a book, and it's called Bobby's Convict, and I do believe he's on Facebook with that book. And if you ever want to pick up a copy of that, it's going to be a pretty interesting book, because it's about a lot of the criminals and things that he knew. And so that's going to be, a pretty interesting thing. So this telephone here is going to go into his personal home. And if you notice on this telephone, it did not have a informational card on the front of it. Now, some 3-slot payphones did have informational cards that came with them, and some were put out in public use without any kind of a card. So what we're going to do is go ahead and fix him up with an informational card in this area. So we have the frame, and we're just going to go ahead and install that for him, kind of give it a little extra added situation. And so to hold this body on, they were just using a screw. And this telephone at some point was somewhat converted, but it's going to have to be rewired and reconverted. And we want to put a modular port plug on this telephone for a simple, clean connection. And if you've watched our videos before, we put them in the oval hole in the back, because we don't like to hang cords out of this. And that way, Bobby, when he goes to mount it, he can simply walk up with any line cord and go ahead and plug into it. So we want to go through a few things here. We're going to put an aftermarket cam lock in his body. And we're going to take his vault door, which has no lock at this time. We're going to put an original lock and key on his vault door. So we'll move that to the side. Someone has already installed a set of bells inside the vault area, and it's out of an old 302, like what you would see in an old Western Electric 302 telephone. And they've mounted it on the side here. And we're going to go ahead and check those bells out and finish up the circuit for them and see if they work. If not, we'll install some other type of bell. We also want to go through the rotary. It seems to be turning pretty good, but we want to make sure that it's dialing out and the numbers are racking off properly. We also want to check the coin validator and make sure all the money, the quarters, dimes, and nickels are dropping through. And then we want to go into his handset while we're wiring everything up and make sure that is working properly. And like I said, we'll have to rewire everything. I'm going to go ahead, since the body is loose, I want to go ahead and pull that away from the telephone and kind of give you a look at the inside of the telephone here. And then I want to spin the body around. We do have his coin validator here. We do have his connections here for our finger contacts or leaf contacts, whatever you want to call them. I'm sure we'll have to go through the hook switch, but like I said, we'll have to rewire everything and make sure that that's all proper. We have our network here, and it looks like something that was added a little later, but you never know until you really get into this and start troubleshooting everything and making sure that you know what's going on, and that's what we're in the middle of. This is the initial checkout of this telephone. And so we're going to get it straightened out for him, and so he can use it in his home. But this is the initial checkout, and we're going to take a short break now, and we'll get right back as soon as we get a little further into the conversion and repair of this telephone. So we'll be right back. Okay, we're back now, and we are finished up with this telephone, and we'll run through a couple of things that we've done here. I want to make sure that we go ahead and install our modular plug for our line cord, and we have installed a modular port in the back of this telephone. I don't like to hang cords out of the back of these telephones. It just kind of looks tacky. And when you put a modular port in them, it just makes for a nice clean connection. So I'll go ahead and make sure that we've got this plugged in. And so that makes for a clean connection. So now what we want to do is talk about the informational card. So we put a picture frame on this for the informational card and installed the informational card. And that turned out pretty nice because this telephone did not have an informational card. Some of these 3-slot payphones were put out into the public without informational cards, so it was kind of an optional thing. If you didn't want one, you didn't have to have one. In the earlier part of the video, we showed that they just had a screw into the body to hold it on, and so now we have our aftermarket lock on there, so he has 2 keys, and Bobby can simply open it up that way. We also installed a vault lock and key. This telephone did not have a lock and key for the vault, so now we have a lock and key for the vault. There was a bell that someone had installed years ago in the vault area, and we made sure that that circuit was wired properly, and everything in this telephone had to be rewired and set up the way we want it set up so that it would work. And we had to go into that bell circuit and make sure that that was proper and repair that. You see here a transmitter on these armored security cables that they have here. On these handsets, what happens is the receiver caps will not come off on these because they're security handsets and they're on this cable. And so we actually had to cut this cap off because you can't get them off. They glue them from the factory. We put this one back on with epoxy, but we actually had to cut the transmitter cap off because the transmitter that was in this originally, and you can actually see the green paint when they painted this telephone this color, and I suspect that was done by the phone company because of the type of paint that's on it. You can tell the phone company probably painted that. It was done professionally, and so this transmitter was no good, and we actually cut the cap off this handset and put a new transmitter in there. Now on these transmitters, these T1s, they have graphite crystals inside of them, and when they get old you can hear kind of a sizzling, popping noise, and you sometimes would equate that with the cord or a bad connection, but it'll actually be these T1s. Now this one wasn't working at all, so it was bad, and we put a new one in here, a new old stock. This one seems to be pretty quiet and it's in good shape, but you can get that from them T1s because of the graphite crystals that are in them. So it wouldn't be unheard to ever hear that. Sometimes you hear that sizzling and crackling, but this one's in pretty good shape, so I think it'll be okay with that. We went ahead and went through the rotary, oiled and adjusted that, made sure the numbers were racking off properly, and we have 2 keys for our lock now. So we can simply just put our key in and pull the body off. Now you want to push these in because they are spring-loaded. You want to push that in and lock your telephone. So now what we can do is do some final checks. I'm going to go ahead and ring it. We'll let that go a couple times. I'll let it go one more time. Give you some dial tone. Now we want to dial our numbers, so if you watch the analyzer, you'll see the numbers go by. I'm going to end in a 2. And now what I want to do is I want to transmit into the handset. So if you watch this red light here, every time that red light lights, that's an indication of 100% modulation on transmit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hello, hello. So we know that this telephone is ringing. We know it dials out. We know it has receive. We know it has transmit. Okay, we had to take a short break there. So now what we can do is we can move it over to a regular telephone line. And we'll go ahead and call like a time and temp. Give you some dial tone.
Good evening. When you need body work, we're a short drive away. Offenburg Body Center, 234-0330. Today is Saturday, October 20th. The time is 6:33. Current temperature, 66 degrees. Now the Belleville area weather forecast. Mostly clear today, tonight, and Sunday. High today, low 60s. Low tonight, upper 40s. Sunday's high, mid-70s.
Okay. We can call one other number. We'll call my number and it'll be busy. Give you some dial tone. We'll put the telephone line back over to the analyzer, and I'll ring this telephone one more time. We'll let it go one more time. Give you some dial tone. Now what we can do is we can put some change into this telephone. And I'll start with a nickel. That'll ring the bell once. Dimes will ring the telephone twice, the bell. The quarters will gong. I'll put another nickel, another dime. We'll go a quarter. And one more nickel. So we know that this telephone is repaired now and has been converted, and this is a really cool telephone. This is going to be, Bobby's going to put this in his home, and the other telephone that we did earlier for Bobby is going to go in his, I believe it's his 21 club, his bar. And Bobby's got a book, as we mentioned before, Bobby Convict, and he's going to send us a copy of that book once he gets it finished up and printed and everything. So it's probably going to be a very interesting book of some of the people that he knew in the past, and it's about gangsters and things, criminals and stuff. So I'm sure it's going to be a very interesting book. And if we get a copy from him, we're going to go ahead and put it up on the web page. You might want to read that book. It's going to be pretty good, I'm sure. This is Dennis with A1 Telephone Service and Repair, A1 Electronics. You can reach us on the web at www.a1-telephone.com. And you can also reach us at 618-235-6959. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.